time researching and money. The Direct Eats team realized that, and they were determined to change it. Today, it's a whole new world. Direct Eats is the largest online marketplace. They deliver the best food at the best prices, guaranteed. And you don't have to live in a big city. Direct Eats goes anywhere across the continental United States. If you want to send your favorite Memphis barbecue sauce to New England, or Manhattan's best cookies sent all the way to Direct Eats has you covered. Redefining the way specialty foods are discovered and consumed with your natural and organic food. And if you're hungry, Direct Eats will make you very happy. So forget the grocery store. Visit directeats.com now to save time and money.
Okay, guys, we're going on.
There's no membership fee and no minimum. This will change your life. That's directeats.com.
I'm here.
I'm not quite yet.
Investigators now tell us it was suicide and the ultimate act of betrayal.
This state suicide was the end result of extensive criminal acts that Glenowitz had been committing.
Lake County
Here's the news ends.
says Officer Glenowitz
Everybody out there online?
his management to the Fox Lake Police Explorers program.
Ready to rock and roll.
Haley Mullick, but he was about to be caught.
Jay.
That involves others who are now also part of an ongoing investigation. Gentlemen also. News.
Donald Trump filed
Here we go, guys.
New Hampshire today, so he's on the ballot next year for the first in the nation.
Hey, I know
From China, Japan,
Okay,
Mexico, all these
okay,
places
come in.
that have them.
Yeah, I'm originally from Midwest, so I was more of a West Coast.
Hillary Clinton, the Democratic frontrunner by far, but the latest poll finds is having image problems.
It's a Quinnipiac poll, the first one nationally since that big Benghazi hearing, and it seems to suggest
naughty by nature, by birth.
Enough is enough. She's running away with the nomination, pulling away from Sanders. But we're saying not so fast. They have lingering questions. Is she honest and trustworthy? 36% say yes.
Yeah, I know.
60% say no. Then if you look at head-to-head matchup, she's basically losing to every Republican that's thrown up, whether it's Rubio, Trump, Bush, Carson. I mean, Carson in particular, 50% for Carson, 40% for Clinton in a direct head-to-head matchup.
Fox News Ed Henry. Stocks closed with moderate
Okay, guys, here we
losses,
go.
Dow slipping 50 points. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Hey, friends, and a pleasant good evening. Welcome to Lions Live, the only network built by the players for the fans. My name's Skip Drabelbis, Big Dude Stephen Davis, Jacob Israel, and a special guest tonight, Jeremy Kapnos. We are not a podcast, and this show is not pre-recorded. We are live here in State College today, and our players located throughout various places around our country here, bringing the best of Penn State football. And we're thankful here for a big win from last week here with Penn State. And we don't have a lot of time. This is the fastest hour of college football, so we're thankful to be able to bring it here to you tonight and give you a unique perspective. You can join us on lionslive.com. We're streaming there, also broadcasting at AM 970 WBLF here at State College on the FM side, Y106, and syndicated near you. And if you want to pick us up, talk to a station near you, we'd be happy to get with them and bring you the best of Penn State football from the players' perspective. So we're great here to be back here once again. Big Dude, let's start right in the fastest hour of college football, the recap of last week.
We were at was 2013. We beat 2009. So we're doing well, and the 39-point victory, it marks the biggest margin. The Big Ten shutout sent a 49-0 win against the biggest since the Northwestern, who we're playing. So hopefully that's a charm to look at. And it was the largest margin of victory in the Big Ten game Since a 41-point win against Wisconsin, 48-7 in 2008. So a lot of good stuff that happened. Penn State's 12 points they scored in the first quarter, which is interesting, are the most by us in an opening stanza since we played against, since scoring 14 against Purdue. We dominated on both sides of the ball. You know, when I think we were also, the biggest thing is in the red zone. I think Skip, you may have even questioned our red zone offense. Well, guess what? We were 7 for 7 in the red zone, 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So a lot of good stuff happened on it. On defense, we held the Illini to 12 first downs for the whole game. The fewest they give up since 8 against Temple last year, and the fewest in the Big Ten since allowing 12 to Michigan last season. So the defense had 4 sacks, giving them 31 consecutive games with a sack. And that's the most consecutive games with recorded sacks since it became an NCAA official statistic in 2000, which is I didn't know. Wow, that's old.
That's awesome.
So Penn State defense had 9 tackles for losses. There's a 16th game with at least 5 tackles for losses. So they're doing well. The offense, Christian Hackenberg, now has thrown for 12 touchdown passes, one reception. He caught one, as we knew, from Scott doing one. No interceptions, and in 4 games with at least 250 yards. His 2 touchdown passes moves him into the sole possession of second place. Beyond, I forgot who he went beyond. I think he might have even been exactly. He trails only Matt McGoin now, who had 46 touchdowns for first place. So those are some good things that Hackenberg has done. It was the first touchdown reception by Penn State quarterback, as we all saw him catch that. There was a great play call since Zach Mills, an 18-yard reception from Michael Robinson in 2004. So he had a lot of good stuff today. 29 attempts gives him 1,111 for the year, which is the most at Penn State. And he's been tied with Matt McGloin for attempts entering into the game. And several other records and several other things that we were able to do. And we're just really happy of the effort that we gave. And, of course, our national sack leader, Carl Nassib, had at least 1 sack now in 9 consecutive games, which is the longest streak by a Penn State player since 9 sacks became also official. And his sack that he got on Saturday gives him 14.5 sacks for the year. And he's still standing on the top, looking down. Carl Nassib. Good ball game. And our special teams. You want to know our first kicker, Tyler Davis, booted a 42-yard field goal. It's the second of his career, and his career longer.
Yep, that
was goal by Nittany Lion this season. So, and we had a 57-yard kickoff return from Farmer. Coyer Farmer had a 57-yard return to open the second half, and it's the longest return since Nick Scott had one against Buffalo. So, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good football. The offensive line played well. We did give up some sacks. We did have some drop passes. It was not a perfect game. We dominated. And you know what, Skip? I think that I'm going to gain a couple of pounds because you owe me another sack.
Glad to get one for you, buddy.
We like that.
That was good. Hey, it was a great game. I was there on the sidelines, and it was great to see some of our former players there. We had a few guys back from our team back in '86, so it was great to see those guys and catch up. It's always great to see them. So very thankful to catch up with everybody there. And as we watched from the sidelines, I mean, the only disappointment I picked up on was those extra points that got blocked. And, you know, it wasn't a bad snap. It wasn't a bad hold. The guys blocked. They just, you know, he just wasn't getting the height on the ball that he needed. And those issues of consistency haunted us. But, you know, fortunately, Penn State has the man that came back in and stepped up and did a great job. And, you know, from being out of practice a few times, you know, preseason, during the season here, I've gone out. Cove and I went out before, and I commented to him. I said, you know, you can see the difference between the two. And of course, the guy that's in there, you know, you can see he gets the ball up much faster. And, you know, in a kicking game like that, I mean, sure, we felt bad for the big toe, you know, but the bottom line is you got to get that ball up fast. And you have 1.2 seconds from the time of the snap to get that ball off. And it needs to be at least 10 feet high at 5 yards, or you're going to get it blocked. And that's kind of been a struggle all year. You notice there's just not that much hang time at kickoffs. get him out of bounds. So, kicking game has been struggling, but you know what? People come through when they have to, and fortunately, it's a game and it wasn't really needed. So, that's all there is to say on a special team side. Punting was a real struggle. It's been a struggle, and of course, Jeremy's going to be on here to talk with us more and give some great insights to that here shortly. So, look forward to hearing some of his thoughts. What's up with the punting game, and give you some folks some insight about that as well. But it was a great win, and what I could tell, Illinois started out pretty strong, and it seems like as the game went on, they just lost the will to try to win. They lay down and rolled over and played dead, and good for Penn State. Now, next week here is going to be a real challenge, one of the biggest challenges. Again, every week it seems to be another big challenge for Penn State, and we have Northwestern coming off that big win from last week over Nebraska. So that's going to be a tough game this week out at Northwestern. So look forward to seeing that. But, Penn State this past week did great as far as racking up first downs. They had some long sustained drives, 23 first downs, and time of possession, was pretty well balanced. But, when they got the ball, it was effective. They scored. So a great win. Great win. Didn't think it would turn out that way. Thankful it did. And your coach.
Yeah,
I want to hear.
I just wanted to jump in quick.
Sure.
I like how Coach Franklin said this was basically the first time he said we played well in all three phases. So I thought that was a big plus, to be able to say offense, defense. We had the nice shutout, scored in every single quarter, as Big Dude mentioned earlier, and. I'm just looking forward to what we can do up against Northwestern. Obviously Illinois is my home team, so it kind of stings me a little bit, but I do get some bragging rights when I'm at home, so I like that. And we just got to get Northwestern, because that's actually probably a little closer to where I grew up. So I'm looking forward to seeing this momentum, carry forward against Northwestern.
Yeah, and that was actually a close game last week with Northwest. 2-point win for Northwestern over Nebraska. So, and Northwestern's just one of those teams. It's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. They just keep going and going and going, and they are winning and looking pretty good. So, team to be contended with here, and a good challenge for Penn State.
I could have sworn maybe they did. I thought Purdue beat Nebraska. Did I have that wrong?
Let's take a look and see.
I thought Purdue beat them. It was somebody that Nebraska never loses to. I mean, I have to say,
well, they lost to BYU
the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Nebraska looks like they have packed it in.
Well,
Mike Riley. In fact, I don't know if you saw, now that you mentioned Nebraska, I don't know if we don't have a lot of time, but just anytime your athletic director has to send out a letter of apology to the alumni, and for us to continue to that's pretty big. And I continue to support him. The athletics director sent out a letter of apology.
Wow. What was that about? What was that about, Stephen?
Well, they're telling the Nebraska fans and the alumni and the base of the people who come to the game that we're very sorry for the way the team is playing.
Wow.
And we know that things aren't going well. So, and we want you to keep coming irrespective of how bad it is. Now, I've never heard of an open letter. It was an open letter.
Wow.
So, boy, that tells you about how football is at other schools and the way they handle things. I just thought that was very irresponsible of that athletic director to do that to their first-year coach.
Wow, that's
what they've gone through. It was terrible. They talked about it on the Big Ten Network, and that does not bode well for the support they have from Mike Riley at all.
No, that's pretty outrageous, and it's like the AD already has an agenda for this guy, and it's not a good one. They did lose. They did lose to Purdue, 55-45. A loss to Wisconsin. A 2-point loss, and again a 1-point loss to Illinois, and Miami a 3-point loss, and BYU was they're all within a few points each game. But yeah, it's been a struggle for them this year, no doubt. And
right.
It's one of those years Penn State's had them. And we feel for. Kind of feel for the coach, their first-year coach. I got to give the guy, got to stand behind him, rally behind him, and it's his first year. I mean, can you imagine? Well, I can't imagine what next year will bring. I mean, I guess the question, Stephen, is because you being in a 20-year-plus administration experience, Where do these schools get some of these ADs?
Well, I mean, some of these guys take classes, they get their masters in business administration, they learn about the system, but and I think they just have a very skewed idea of what marketing is. And I think this is what we have in the business world today, that you have theory and you have other things, you try to keep your customers happy, but then when you have a certain type of leadership with college football that is built, that needs to be supported, and you have to be part of the foundation. You don't go make a crack in your own foundation, that people aren't going to come to games, because you're basically saying that the alumni base is not going to support Nebraska in the good and the bad times. So that doesn't speak well of what you're trying to say to me as an older alum, that, okay, I'm lost, and yeah, we were mad about losing and other things. Hey, you know what I mean, Coach? We were right there with y'all. You know what I mean? It was what it was. Were you on a team, Coach, that lost 6-4 to Iowa? 6-4.
Yes.
That is one of the ugliest losses I have ever seen at homecoming. And all I could do was hug Joe. I never saw a locker room look like that. People were distraught. And guess what? You got to hang in there. You know what they all say? Things are different. They say, hey, get in there and encourage those young guys. And if we sent out a letter of apology, just imagine what would have happened to that team if you sent out a letter of apology.
Yeah,
that would be terrible.
That's a huge insult. I think it's very, if anything, I think it sends up a flag for the trustees to get together and tell the AD it's time for them to go look for another job, because the message they're conveying is, hey, this isn't about academics anymore. It's not about the important things in life. It's about us winning at football at all costs, and we're sorry we're not doing it. So, and we realize it's all about the money and winning. And it's hard to get that balance sometimes, but I think it's reflective of our society today, and everything's kind of warped and twisted in a really bad way. And I think it's just a reflection of a culture that's gone awry. That's my personal opinion on it. But hey,
absolutely, I agree 110%.
Penn State's never been always about the football. We want to win, certainly, and it's great when we do. And we're not a Harvard, okay? We're not a Princeton, okay? We're not an Ivy League school, so it's not all academics. We do, people do have lives apart from the books, but it is about, beyond football, and it's also beyond the game, because it's a short period in everybody's life. As many years as you grow up playing it, after college, only for a few people actually last a lot longer. And I think we have our special guest on here. I'll let you, Cove. Why don't you go ahead and give a good introduction here to Jeremy?
Jeremy, you with us?
Yes, sir. Sure am.
Yeah, this is former teammate. We were together about 2 years, Jeremy.
Yeah, about 2 years, and you hit the road.
Yeah, I was the old head, and I actually was. You were probably there when my knee was hurt. Probably.
Yep.
Yeah, I tore my knee. Jeremy was a punter. Did a great job. Played on the Orange Bowl team, right?
Yeah, Orange Bowl.
Jeremy? Played on the Orange Bowl team.
Redshirted the Capital One Bowl. I redshirted the Orange Bowl and the Outback Bowl team.
Wow. Yes. And then kicked also with Robbie Gould too. Kicker for the Bears. Yeah, kicked side by side with him. And then also had a nice career at Penn State, and then went on to play some professional ball. Played for the Packers, right?
Yep. Packers for 2
played
years.
For the Steelers.
For 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you start out with...
we excited for Kapanos to join us today. Tell us a little bit about your high school ball, were you a punter all the way through high school? Tell us a little bit how you got to Penn State and, your career at Penn State.
Well, basically, was an Army brat growing up. So my, father moved around every 2 years, and we went with him. Ended up here in Springfield, Virginia, and my coach at the time, who just got to town, was a former NFL punter. So I was 6'1", at the time.
Wow.
I hadn't really grown since then, so I went in there and just talked to him, and I think he wanted me to do a little bit more in punting. But I'd previously played soccer for a good bit of time, and just told him I wanted to punt, and that was it. And that was all my dad would let me do. He played football for Army back in the 70s, but he kind of just didn't want to, for me to have bad knees, whatever. So I said we compromised with punting. So I went in there and said I want to be a punter, and he kind of molded me into his idea for a good punter, and then just started kicking in 10th grade, and then
wow,
Penn State came calling when I was in 11th grade to 12th grade. You know how that goes with recruiting, and ended up at Penn State.
Wow. So who were some of the was that Big Dude?
I just said awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. And Jeremy, I think you started out with the Jets, and you had a great average in NFL there, 43.2 yards. I think was your NFL average. I mean, that's phenomenal. And
I turned it up. Obviously in the first few years I struggled. Maybe in Green Bay I struggled a little bit, but I think that's to be expected. And then I really caught stride in Pittsburgh because the organization was run a lot like it was in Pittsburgh in terms of just kind of focusing on football and just the way they treated you was great. So that's very unique in the NFL. I don't think you get too many teams that treat players, like people rather than just kind of rental commodities. And then, then was doing really well, and I had a great last season with them, and then obviously got injured. So I was able to fall back on my degree, which is always important. So it was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was a good run. I got kind of what I wanted out of it. Got 5 years, 6 years, what it was, and then was able to kind of fall back onto my degree.
Well, that's phenomenal. Jeremy, I have some questions for you. Maybe you could share with some people out there, because you talked about that progression from high school on to Penn State. Your dad was behind you a lot in all this, but at what point did you kind of know that, hey, you know what, I got something here, and I have some, like a diamond in the rough that I want to polish up. At what point did you kind of figure that out?
Yeah, I think, when you're in high school, you go to a lot of camps, and you get exposure to a lot of different players from around the country, and you can benchmark yourself against, current high school players, but also current college players. So when you're able to stand toe-to-toe with them at, some of these specialized camps, that's, some self-assurance that you are good enough, and you probably need to focus on this a little bit. And as a result, I played soccer, and in Virginia, soccer's in the spring, whereas football is in the fall. I just kind of, hung up the soccer cleats and started kicking football. So, you just have to kind of compete. I was always competing with guys that punted and at a high level, and then I was able to kind of hang with them and realize that I should probably focus a little time on this.
Well, that's awesome, because punting is a very a specialized skill, and a lot of fans don't understand how hard it is to punt a ball consistently and accurately. And when I was at Penn State, I was just a kicker, but in high school I tried to do a little bit of punting and stuff too. But man, that was the hardest thing. And the consistency of getting a drop every single time the right way, the consistency of a leg swing every time the right way, it's very, very hard to do. And of course, it's a completely different leg swing as well. So you probably spend a lot of time getting, with flexibility, trying to do a lot of stretching, lifting. And for kids out there today who maybe were thinking about trying to punt, what would be some advice for them and ways to try to maybe get started?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would just be to too often nowadays it seems like every kind of high school kid, or every kid that's not even in high school, is specializing in one sport. So I would say definitely expose yourself to different sports, whether it's baseball, wrestling, soccer, football. But then just compete with other guys, get to know other guys, network what they're doing. If you see someone who's punting, or if you kind of pick up a football, or you start kicking a football or throwing a football, and you realize that this is something you enjoy and something you think you can excel at, take it from there. But I mean, when you're first starting out and you're in high school, it's just all about competing. I mean, the only reason why I knew I was good enough to go on, and the only reason why I knew I had something, was just because I competed against guys that were better than me and challenged me. So that I went to camps and essentially got got my head beat in a few times in terms of punting speak, not tackling or anything like you guys did. But you know, just kind of, you know, when they hit a ball and you hit a ball, whoever has the best ball is the better punter. And so I think don't be afraid to compete, and also just you know, enjoy yourself and you know, just find your niche.
Right. Now, are you doing any coaching on, because I mean, you have all these years of experience. Is this something you've been passing on to a lot of kids?
Not really. I haven't been too proactive in coaching. I mean, I from time to time will definitely work with a kid from my high school. There's a string of kids out of my high school that went on to kick Division I, 1A. So we had a guy that went and kicked for West Virginia, kicked for NC State. And then prior to me, there was someone who punted for Boston College. So there was a string of us that really kind of carried the torch, you know, on a one-off basis. But I kind of wanted to, because I did spend so much time, you know, luckily in class, I kind of want to try my hand at something else and just see what the world has to offer, and then kind of be a little bit of a Renaissance man.
Fantastic. Awesome. Fantastic.
Well, can I ask some questions, Skip? Jeremy, this is Stephen Davis, but you do call me Big Dude for a long time. On my license plate, on the 86 team with a few folks, but you know, as I said, we're punting. Well, tell us about, what do you think is going on with Penn State's punting this year? What are we missing? I mean, because it seems like we're trying everything, man. It's just, we had a decent time, I guess, on Saturday, but what is going on? I mean, something's happened. Nobody has an answer. Come on, man. You're a punter.
You know, I actually went to practice on Thursday. I drove up for the Illinois game. I went to practice and met the guys and met Coach Huff and his assistant special teams coach. And I've been kind of in contact a little bit with the Australian guy, Todd Kolka, who I think everyone knows, put me in touch with him. Just trying to give him, I mean, obviously there's so much I can do over the phone or through text, but I mean, I think the big thing with college, with punting, is that you need to have, you need to have someone there that's going to teach the drills. And I think there's definitely a coaching staff in place in terms of special teams that is very interested in learning the drills, so that these guys aren't just going out and punting, you know, 10 balls during practice and that's it. I think right now it's just, you know, they're big kids. They need some time to, you know, refine. I think the problem that some of the college punting is going through is that there's so many guys out there that are so-called experts at kicking and punting. Sometimes it's hard to really find one that can fit your punting. And I think the thing is yeah, it's definitely been a rough. I mean, I've watched all the games and it's pretty atrocious at times. And definitely knowing what Penn State's had some great punters over the past few years. So, you know, the one thing I don't want to see is that the running and punting that's kind of cheap. I just think they need.
Is it? So that's not anything that is advantageous to do that rugby style kick, or is that a cop out? That means that's your best shot. So we don't get it blocked or we lose field position. What does that mean? I mean, because I've seen a number of people doing it.
Yeah, so I think the number one thing when you do the rollout punt is, you know, one, it's predictable. So if you get a guy who can consistently hit a rugby style punt a certain amount of distance, so if you say this guy can 9 out of 10 times kick the ball 45 to 50 yards rolling out, you do that. Don't worry about the hang time because he can angle towards the sideline. So one, I think it's just predictability. You know, it's very hard to hit a spiral every time, especially in college. So that eliminates a lot of the uncertainty with how the ball is going to look. And then at the same time, it's easier to cover the ball because it's you know, it's one angle. But I think, yes, sometimes I think when you can't hit a spiral, that's what you do. So it is a cop out, but you know, I think a lot of guys, especially teams coaches in college, try to overthink the system when just get a punter back there who can hit the ball 45 and 50 yards or 45 yards and cover it, play football. So I don't know. I think they have to deal with that right now and see how they can develop the punters moving forward.
I wanted to jump in here. Jeremy, what is it that a punter needs in college to get to the next level? What is it that the NFL looks for, or you know, how do you position yourself to get into the NFL? Because you know, we talk about the kicker from last year's team, how he's been trying to get a deal. You know what I mean? Like, how does all that go?
I think it's all about consistency at that level. Like I said, when you go out there and you have an opportunity to put the ball inside the 20, they want you to do it every time. That's the bottom line. Percentage wise, it's got to be as close to 100% as possible. And then in terms of just your regular punts, it's just all about predictability. So, if I have a guy that can kick the ball 60 yards every time, I can give up 15 yards. I can punt it 60 yards and give up 15 yards in return and still have a 45-yard net, which is, top 10 in the NFL. So, and then, on the other hand, if I have a guy that can hang the ball up there 45 yards and they can cover it and kind of get a fair catch, that's a 45-yard net. So, the NFL, it's all about consistency. It's when I went to these workouts and I was kind of trying to get in the NFL, I would go to, Arizona, for example, get off the plane, stretch, warm up, hit 10 balls, and that was it. And you had to make sure that those 10 balls were, statistically, over 50 yards, over 5.0, turned over, good direction. And so it's all about consistency. The guys that last the longest are the guys that can do it over and over again. And that's really at any position.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's good.
Well, we had John Bruno as our punter when Steph and I were on the team, and John would always be out there, and it's he'd just be practicing his drop all the time. He wouldn't even necessarily be kicking the ball, but it's all about getting that ball to drop the same way every time, and swinging the leg the same way every time. And I remember when he went to the combines, talking to him after our season. They put a cone out at 70 yards and told him to hit it, and he did. It's being able to do things like that are what get you there. And like with you, you want a 5-second hang time and or that trade off of the distance to the hang time somewhere at least over 4 seconds, and consistency. It's like a time and time again. They don't want guys shanking the ball off the side. And what Stefan asked about that rugby style stuff, I mean. We did that once when I was in high school, and it was like when we were down at our 5-yard line. It was second down, and the coach said, "You know what? We're gonna freak these guys. We're gonna put you in a running back, and all I want you to do is just do an end-over-end kick." So I blasted it down to their team's 5-yard line. And you're not looking to try to. It's just to catch a team off and out of position. And I think they took that idea and mentality and now tried to convert that over into, okay, we're going to try this on 4th down. And it doesn't work, And I also think, Jeremy, just my personal opinion, I've been up to practice as well. I think they just need to find a guy like you who can consult and say, guys, here's the drills I did that make me successful. Here's the things that make sense to me. And then you build up as a coach, because let's face it, these college coaches, none of them played. They didn't punt and they didn't kick. So they go to seminars. They hear guys like yourself or me or different guys who played talk, and they try to pick up on those things and then try to look at their players and say, okay, here's what I'm noticing. But at the end of the day, you got to look at your film. You got to take a look and see what you're doing there, mechanics wise and with technique, and try to refine it. You can't do everything all one day. One day you try to pick one thing to try to do it a little bit better, and you go back and you just keep reviewing it. I mean, I correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of the way, I pursued this position as a kicker. And I think punting is probably pretty much the same as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think, that's definitely the current mindset, I think, with a lot of coaches is just kind of look for patterns and see what, okay, on X punt, on this punt, it was great. The next one, it wasn't. What did he do wrong? And I think that's good. That's kind of what a coach would do. But in terms of having someone that has actually done it and knows the feeling of the ball coming off your foot, that's definitely unique, and kind of break things down from a player-to-player level about what happened on that punt. Why did it do that? What happened on that kick? Why did it go right? Why did it go left?
Absolutely.
They definitely need someone like that. And I think, look, there's so many former Penn State guys that can do that, and hopefully, when I talked to them in practice, this kind of kick-started some sort of, I can just, come up and help them during the summer, because I do think they have some guys coming in that are supposed to be ringers in terms of kickers and punters, but it's one thing to get them in, it's another thing to develop them for 4 years. So hopefully, I think, when I need help at work, if I need help in life, basically, I do everything I can to reach out to people that can help me. I think as long as their egos don't get in the way and they don't feel like someone's stepping on their toes, and they seek that help, they'll be successful. But it's all about, especially at the college level, sometimes guys just don't want other guys talking to their guys. That's just how it goes.
Yep. Yeah. Well put, Jeremy. Well put.
Yeah, well, so what's the question we ask almost all our guests on the show, and hopefully we'll tell us your favorite Joe moment.
We like that. It's a good call, big dude.
As a kicker, man, he must have had some nasty things. He was very nice to y'all, but then, boy, when he went out on y'all, he went out on.
I definitely have a few. I mean, I think the one right off the bat when you talk about getting into college. So it kind of goes against everything that's out there. But I didn't have the best. Not against me, but I didn't have the best grades coming out of high school. So Joe came to my high school with Larry Johnson, and was just kind of like, I'd already committed, but we sit down and the principal's there, which was strange because I never had any conversations with the principal. But Coach Paterno comes, and I guess everyone, it's all of a sudden my friends, how that goes. So we're sitting there.
I'm laughing because he does it to everybody. Go ahead.
Coach Paterno just says, Jeremy, you're kind of a happy-go-lucky guy. You probably need to take a year off in a red shirt. So I was like, all right, I can do that. And then, when I got there, at the time they still had the week or 2 weeks when freshmen could come before the upperclassmen came. So Cove wasn't there yet; it was just us. And so my first time, so Larry Johnson calls me out, and after practice, he's like, go punt for Coach. So I went up there, and I didn't know any better. I was naive. I just hit some balls, and he said, "All right, you'll be okay." So that was my first exposure with Coach, and that was great. That was sort of his blessing. But I mean, in terms of other stories, I mean, we went to the Capital One Bowl. I think that was that your senior year, Cove?
Yeah, my junior. So,
yeah.
So we went.
What year was that?
2002.
That was 2000. 2002. Yep, 2002.
Yeah, that was with Larry Johnson. So I mean, we were good that year, and then the next 2 years we were bad. So through that first year, I think we were 4-7 or 3 whatever. Just some of the speeches that he would give during team meetings, and just trying to keep us all kind of as one unit. But I mean, specific stories. I mean, you guys know there's so many of them, and I just remember coming in and we had lost to, I don't know who we I think we lost to Northwestern or something, and we could all tell that the heat was on him, and the way he kind of took it all and kept it off us was obviously great, and he had the ability to keep everyone together. But then also, I mean, just him in practice, kind of. If I used to watch a lot of practice, obviously, but you're seeing a 7-on-7 or something or whatever, and you're like, there's Coach out in the secondary, and he just gets blasted and gets up and starts yelling at whoever missed the receiver and didn't get upset. So I mean, so many good stories about him.
Jeremy, let me ask you this: as a team, and from college to NFL, when teams are doing great, you don't need to punt too many balls. When teams are struggling, you're punting a lot more.
Sure.
In the NFL side of that, it's kind of the same. Also, how does that affect the job? I mean, obviously it's a mental awareness, and you always got to be ready to go. When teams are doing better and worse, how does that affect your game at all? Because pressure's on.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely when your team is. I think I personally thought it was easier when your team was bad to punt good, just because you're back there, you're always backed up, and you can just blast away. And usually, usually the focus is on someone else, not the punter. But I mean, I think in the NFL. It doesn't matter at that position. I think there's such high turnover rate, and I think the minute you start making more than the minimum salaries, they kind of tighten the screws. So, it really doesn't matter. But I mean, definitely when you're winning, your job is magnetized just because, if you're up, especially with the Steelers, they like to play a lot of close ball games. They like to keep the score tight. They don't like to, but that's just the football they play. They play old school football. If you're backed up in the end zone. It's a 2 or 3 point lead, and there's 2 minutes left. You better make sure that you hit, a great ball or cover, a good ball that they can cover well. Just because they lose that game, you are out of a job. So both of the situations are kind of the same. So look at it this way: when your team's bad, what happens is they start to look at every part of the roster and how they can get that part of the roster better. So ultimately, your name's going to come up, and if this person's good enough to move on with this next year. So, you see when teams start to do really bad, they fire the coach and they start to, bench the quarterback, and then they'll go this guy, that guy. So that happens. But then when you're good, they don't want any part of the game detracting from a win. So it's all a pressure cooker.
Wow, it's amazing because you see it's at that level it's an economic equation, and and they try to make it a business decision, but and you can only put matrix on it as far as numbers to a certain point, because at the end of the day, and I think about you mentioned the Steelers, you can have a kicker like Reed who has personal problems, and that's a guy it's easy to let go when he starts doing stupid things off the field.
Sure.
There's more to this than meets the eye than sometimes just the numbers. And then in converse, though, you could have a guy who's just a great person like yourself, and then all these other variables factor into it that really aren't reflective of your true talents and abilities.
Oh yeah, and I mean, no question. That's one of the things I learned in the NFL is that there's two things that keep you in the league. Obviously talent in terms of producing is going to keep you in the NFL. That's a no-brainer. But the other thing, I think this is definitely well known, is potential. There's guys that never do anything in the NFL that last for years just because there's the potential that they could be good.
Wow.
And that's, that's sort of like I talk with Cove sometimes about financial stuff, and that's like a stock that you think is going to perform well in the future. And sometimes they never do perform. They just kind of have that P word over their head. So, it's, you got to kind of look.
That Jeremy, that came out a little heavy, man. Go ahead, man.
But I appreciate.
Yeah, it came out a little heavy. Go ahead.
But Jeremy, I really appreciate that perspective.
That's the Jersey coming out over there, Cap. You okay?
No, Jeremy, I truly appreciate.
Sorry, man.
I truly appreciate this perspective because so many people out there just don't understand it. And I look at the NFL punters. Guys just come and go awfully quick today compared to before. Sure. Same with kickers. They're a dime they're a dime a dozen, and it's supply demand, and it's an economic equation. It's a business. It's all these things, kind of thrown into a blender, and how that all plays out. Man, that's. It's amazing, that you've had the experiences you've had like this, and the insights you have to that dynamic of NFL that most people don't get to hear. And I want to thank you for sharing that, because this is just great information. Mm-hmm. Things you just don't normally ever get that type of insight to, especially from that position as well.
No, it's a
wow. Well, you know what? I just had a quick question. I see here. I was looking at your stats, man. My goodness. You had a 78-yard punt in 2004. Yeah. Do you remember? That kick?
100%. Calvin Lowry recovered that on the 1 yard line.
Oh.
So
I remember Calvin.
Yeah, it was at Ohio State. It seems that every time we went to Ohio State, speaking of playing bad and playing good, I never won at Ohio State. We only beat Ohio State one time, and that was my junior year. We went to the Orange Bowl. But I always had a great game there. And we played 2004. We played them, and I hit. Had a good game. I hit that ball, and then the next ball I hit Ted Ginn and returned it on me for a touchdown. So yeah, I definitely remember that game for a number of reasons. That was one of them. And then that thing, I hit it about 55 yards, and to be truthful, it rolled a good bit, but I'm not going to complain about that. No one knows about that.
Well, we'll still take it. And then you had a 68-yarder in 2006.
Yeah, that was a legit punt, but that was a good one. That was in the air. That was one when,
wow.
remember that, but put Ohio State. It was at Ohio State, and I was in the end zone, and I think Anthony Morelli was our quarterback, and I turned around to kind of walk my the play, and I turn around and I see Coach Paterno running off the field, and he's I guess he got sick or something the night before, so I see him. I'm getting ready to punt. I see him run off the field, go into the locker room.
Oh, I saw that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was coming. You know, sometimes you got a little erratic. I thought he was coming after me or something, the ref or something. I said, "Oh boy."
I just remember him saying, they asked him, did he make it? He said, how did you make out leaving? He said, well, let me put it this way. I made out a lot better if I didn't leave. I made a lot better. And I didn't know he even barely made it. He was jacked up. He must have really been jacked up, Coach, man. He looked sick. I saw that.
Yeah. Well, he came out. He came out wearing he came out wearing some different color pants. I don't know if you remember that.
That's correct.
Oh yeah. He was ill, man. And I'll tell you, it says a lot about the type of guy he was because. No, it says a lot about the type of guy he was.
Yeah. Cap, you can see the '80s team. They're a different breed than we was.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just teasing.
No, you're right. You're right. We're interested. Hey, man, we got some other ones. No, it's the truth. It's the truth, man. You wait till you get to meet Trey Gower and some of these other guys you ever met. Those dudes are off the chain, man. You just wait. And I really wish, and God rest his soul, I tell you what, I wish you could have met John Bruno, man. Funny guy.
Oh, he was great.
You could have ever meet. I laughed.
Yeah, I had a good opportunity to meet his parents at my senior banquet, and great to meet them because you hear so much about John, and you obviously have the special teams award after him that I was honored to win. So it was great to meet his folks and hear about his heroics at the the national championship team.
Absolutely.
Wow.
He was a special man, I'll tell you. He was a good friend, and he was always a friend to everybody, and always had this way about had this humor about himself that, well, he was he was better than Letterman. In fact, he played the role of like a Letterman. Remember when we did entertainment that year in the dining hall, Stefan? He was a moderator.
Yeah.
He was
just hilarious.
He was the best.
You might remember. He also, of course, and of course he was criticized for a joke he told. We told amongst ourselves. And
that must have been a bad joke if he was criticized back then.
Well, I mean, it was. I mean, he pretty much said, and to be honest with you, we had both teams there, and he said, "Hey, we loved our teammates. We even let, and we even used the term African American. We said black. He even let the black guys eat with us at training table. So of course, we're not thinking anything. We're not thinking anything about it. And then before we know it, Miami walks out of the steak fry. Here I am eating my second 20-ounce steak. It wasn't, and everybody's walking out.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get what was going on, but that's where the battle started, and that's what ended up happening. The weirdest part about that whole thing, Jerome Brown got up and said, I just had a question. He said, and again, I hope this doesn't offend anybody. He said, did the Japanese have breakfast with Pearl Harbor before they bombed it? And they all said no. They said, okay, fellas, let's go. So they all walked out.
Right.
They all walked out, and it was a big media thing the whole week. And, the sad part is him and Jerome Brown did pass away in the same year at 27 years old.
Yeah.
Hey,
man. Wow.
Very same year. That was the weirdest part. And John knew he had the bone cancer. They knew something was wrong because, the year before, John broke his leg on a totally, I would say, no one touched it. And this is in one of those scrimmages. Nobody touches the punter. How do you punt the ball and come down on it and break your leg? His leg was broken. And that was the beginning of a number of things. And they didn't know why. He got drafted 5th round by the Cardinals. And before you knew it, we heard he was sick. And then before you knew it, It was late in his life. So, like I said, man, I'm just glad to get on here, Skip. I know you got to do the fastest hour of football.
We're okay.
I got one more. I got one more question for Cap.
Yakov, let me. Yakov, one quick. Yakov, hey, real quick. One thing about John yet, because you got to finish that story, Stefan. John then got up and told everybody, well, didn't the United States beat them at Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he finished them off. I mean, he finished them off.
And he said it while they were walking out. And of course, it was at a steak fry. And again, they dogged me with the best steak I ever had.
Well, and the last thing about John like that is, this is back in the 80s, because in the summers, Jeremy, I'd go out and I'd practice with Nick Ansatano, Massimo, and John. We'd be practicing kicking, and these are back in the days. Nobody thought about sun, how the sun can cause melanoma and cancer. And we were always out there. We were dark as you could get as white guys. All right. And John was a very no, he was. John was a very fair skinned guy.
I had good questions about you, man, back then. I wasn't sure.
There you go, and that's a good one, Stan. But we'd all be out there, and John was a very fair skinned, freckled guy, and wouldn't you know, he developed melanoma, and unfortunately it took his life. And we've learned a lot now since that time, because the difference in 30 years, just in our knowledge of science and whatnot, it's made a difference. And I just can't help but wonder, could all of that been prevented, from the amount of time we spent out there on the old turf, baking down, in the sun? I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, no question. So, it's hard to tell those shit, man. It's hard to tell. But we're going to say, Cove, you had a question, and we got to get to the pictures, man. So we got to get Cap.
Yeah. Real quick. I just wanted to ask Jeremy, what would you say was your style of punting? Like, I know you mentioned like hang time, you mentioned distance.
Yeah.
What do you think was what made you get to the NFL? Like, what did they like about you?
Yeah, I think, one, I would classify myself as more of just like a kind of old, I don't want to say old school, but more of a traditional punter, just kind of hanging high, let the guys cover, make sure the ball's inside the 20. But I think what really stood out is just, the experience of playing at a big school and playing big time games and then performing in them. So, I always tried to really kind of just hang the ball up there and let the guys cover it. As I progressed in my career in the NFL, I think I developed into more of just a kind of a guy that could hit the ball really far, because I was a little stronger, a little more mature. But what got me in the NFL, I think, was my ability to hang them up and really hit the same type of ball every time.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. I appreciate that. Okay, yeah. Skip, you got it.
Well, we have about another 4 minutes left here. Let's do some picks, Jeremy. We do our picks this week. We want to get your thoughts on some of these. Coming in here to this Saturday, we're looking at a 12 o'clock kickoff here. Illinois at Purdue.
Oh, boy. I'm going to say just Purdue, because Illinois just got blanketed by PSU, so I'll say Purdue.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to stick with Jeremy on that. I think Purdue is on a roll. Illinois, they just got roasted, man. Their fannies are like stage red, man. They got some red fannies.
Hey, come on now. That's my hometown, man. You guys just stuck all over my hometown, man.
Hey,
I'm with you.
I think
they got steak 'em. They got steak the whole time. And they didn't chop up and steak them either. They got steak.
That's good.
No, I'm just teasing.
That's good.
All right.
That's good. Hey, we got a consensus on that game. We got a 3:30 kickoff here, Wisconsin at Maryland.
Oh, Wisconsin. No question. I don't think Maryland's, they don't have a coach, and Wisconsin's just always tough. It doesn't matter if they have a winning record or not. It's a tough team to play against. They always play hard. So that's a tough one for anyone to go up against. So definitely Wisconsin.
I think we got a consensus on that one.
Yeah. Cap sold me on that one.
There we go. All right, with another 3:30 kickoff, we got Rutgers at Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. Yeah, Michigan.
These are pretty easy this week. Yeah.
I think John Harbaugh's the type. I think it's John or Jim, whatever Harbaugh is. He's the type of guy that he's a good coach. Take an average player and make him a great player.
Yeah. Team to contend with. Definitely. So everybody's on with Michigan on that one. Another 3:30 kickoff. We got number 9 Iowa at Indiana.
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I think Iowa. I don't know if they're still ranked, but
they are.
They're number 9. They're number 9. Yeah, they're ranked 9th.
Program to Wisconsin. Kirk Ferentz always has those boys ready to play. So I'll go with Iowa.
Anybody?
I'm going to go with Iowa too. Indiana will play a good game, but not good enough.
Hey, we're all
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
We're all agreeing on these so far. Then a night game here. We got Michigan State at Nebraska.
Oof. I don't know. I haven't seen Nebraska play too much. If I was a gambler, which I am, I'm going to just go Nebraska and see if I can win some money.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Stepping out.
I'm not bringing that. Let me tell you something. After that letter of apology to AD wrote, I think this season is good. Anytime your AD writes a letter of apology, man, it basically says, thanks for coming to see the bums. We have a bunch of bums this year.
Hey, Steph, is that
Nebraska did?
The AD wrote a letter. Open letter, yeah. It said, thanks for coming and talk about the guy's vision, and thank you for coming even though we're losing. And basically, we're bums this year.
Michigan State.
Yeah, wow, that's a rough one. You think anybody show up this week, Stefan? Maybe the fans won't come.
Yeah,
I got to go with Michigan State on that one. They're just too good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
So Jeremy's the only one at Nebraska pulling out us on Nebraska here. So then we have 8 o'clock kickoff, Minnesota at Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State, for sure.
Yep, we're all there.
Yeah, Ohio State, no doubt.
And of course, we have Penn State, Northwestern.
Well, I'm going to definitely go against Penn State. It's going to be a tough one, but I think they're going to, carry the momentum from last week, and I think they'll kind of come together because they know, I don't think they're looking ahead, but they've got Michigan and Michigan State coming up, so they need this one more than they need a lot.
Yeah, and I think the offensive line has improved. I think our defense has grown up tremendously. It's going to be a tough ball game. Not going to be easy. The same type of game maybe as Maryland. They may score some points on it, but I think our defense is going to make one more play than theirs. I'm going to say Penn State by 7.
All right.
Your coach?
Wow. Yeah. I'm going for Penn State. Even though Northwestern is probably like a half hour from where I grew up. I'm going for Penn State though. I'm gonna hear a lot of trash talking if we lose, so we gotta get this one.
Oh yeah,
wow.
No question.
I was thinking about stepping out again on this one, Stefan.
That's okay. It's won 2 weeks in a row.
You know what? It has, and I don't want to do it, but I think I'll do it anyway. I think Northwestern by 3. I hope I'm wrong.
I Skip. That means we're gonna get 3 subs then.
Yeah. Hey, it's okay. It's all good. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be doing it. I don't want to be doing any double or nothing though. So I'll just keep it to that. No, I think it's gonna be one off.
Don't be trying to give me no stuff from Sheets either, man.
Awesome. Hey, well, Jeremy, we can't thank you enough. The Lions Live was started by players to give a perspective of Penn State football that fans never normally had. And this microphone's open to all former players. We just happen to be the guys here doing it now. So anytime you feel like you want to jump in and do a show, this microphone's open not just to you, but anybody who wants to come in here and talk Penn State football. So I personally can't thank you enough. And these radio stations that pick us up doing this. This is really a unique perspective to hear something just from former players that could be carried on. And we try to do our best to keep a positive show. Looking forward to a future Penn State, and I really personally appreciate your perspective and insights that you gave us here tonight. So I thank you very much for joining us.
No, it's my pleasure, and I really appreciate you all having me on, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Hey, well, any
Yeah, pleasure, Cap, pleasure, man, pleasure.
Hope I get to meet you, Jeremy.
What's that?
Hope I get to meet you, man.
Are you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we can do the show one time again, and I'll see you at a tailgate or something, and we can reminisce about the old days.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Well,
sounds good. Sounds good.
Hey, well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Jeremy Capnos, Big Dude Stephen Davis, Jacoby Israel, my name is Skip Ramos. Thank you for joining us on Lions Live, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Have a great weekend. Let's hope Penn State wins. I hope I'm wrong. And have a great night. Lord bless. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, see you guys. See ya.